Okay, let's learn how to do our notebook exercises. Okay, to build our notebook, we start by going to pasadena.edu. Up here at the top where it says Login, click on the drop-down menu, click on Canvas. Log in and it'll take you to all of your classes. Click on your math class and you'll know you're at the right place because you'll see my face. Now when you get to the opening page of our math class on Canvas, you scroll down until you get to the portfolio. Portfolio is where all of our homework is listed. So click on portfolio, it'll take you here. Now I'm using portfolio for exam 2. I call that batch 2 material. Just as an example, I'm using that. So this is the material that's going to be on your exam 2. Scroll down and you'll notice all the sections are listed. And we begin with section 2.1. The first instruction says, read your text. That's right, guys. We're going to have to read our math text. It's finally happened. We've come to this. Here's our math textbook. Turn to section 2.1. And starting from the beginning, I want you to read everything. I want you to read all of the words, all of the examples, all of the notes, all of the theorems, and continue reading until you get to the end. So when you get to the end, you know you're there because it says section 2.1 and in the exercise start. Okay, so what are we going to do now? We finished reading our text. We're going to go back up to the portfolio. And now we're going to look at the portfolio material for section 2.1. We have videos, and each video has a number. This is video 0A. And then we have note, video 7A, note, video 8A. They're not always in order, but they're just write them down. You're going to be writing down the videos in the order they appear on the page. So you don't have to write the notes. You just have to write the videos. You may write the notes and insert them in the front pages of your notebook, but that's your option. I'm not going to grade the notes. I'm only grading the videos. Okay, but it is a good idea, and I would recommend that you put the notes in there as well. Okay, so after we watch while we're watching the first video, we want to get it into the front pages of our notebook. How do we do that? Well, we have a notebook. We bought this notebook, and it's got a front page section and a back page section. Here's my front page section. Now watch very closely. Turn it upside down, flip it around. There's my back page section. Was that too fast? I'll do it again. Front page section, and we open from the right to the left. Turn it upside down, flip it around, and there's our back page section opening from right onto left. Okay, so back to the front pages, because the front pages of your notebook, that's where you write up your videos. So go back up to your portfolio, carefully click and listen to the YouTube video for video example 0A. As you're watching that, open your notebook to section 2.1. Now write section 2.1. Now you got to highlight that. I need to see where you're at, section 2.1. I even put the section number down here at the bottom, section 2.1. Okay, so back up here, section 2.1. You're going to write down everything that's written in the video. You do not need to write the words, but you need to write everything that's written in the video. Be sure to label it, put a box around that, and then show everything that was in the video. Then that was video 0A. Go back up to your portfolio page, scroll down, read the note, read the note. Okay, now as you're watching the next video, which is video 7A, go back to your front page of your notebook and write up video 7A. Now what I want you to notice, I'm going to the next video. I'm writing nothing on the back pages, only on the front pages. I want you to consistently do that. Only write on the front pages, the face pages. So we go to video example 8A, write that one up after we read the notes. And then the last video, video 13A. And that takes us to the end of section 2.1. Well, what do we do in our notebook when we finish our last video in section 2.1? We add those suckers up. So 2.1 videos, writing this after the last video in section 2.1. And there were a total of 4 videos. I wrote up all 4 of them. So the total number I wrote up goes on the top of the fraction. The total number of videos in the section is on the bottom of the fraction. I got 4 out of 4. Now I go back up here and I say, okay, now it's time to do the exercises in the back of the textbook for section 2.1. So I return to my textbook and I go all the way to the back of section 2.1 and I look up the first problem listed on the portfolio. It was problem number 9. Now you'll notice that there are words describing the exercise and then you do the problem. I need you to write down the instructions. I will not accept a problem on homework. I will not accept it as being done correctly unless you write down the question. You absolutely must write down the question. So we go back to write these questions. We'll start with number 9 in section 2.1. We go to the back of our notebook, go to section 2.1. On the top, you're going to write section 2.1 and list every single number from the portfolio page, every single exercise problem number that you're going to be doing in section 2.1. You write it at the top in the back page section of your notebook, and the section number and all the problems that you're going to do and highlight it. Starting with number 9, I wrote down every word of the instructions, and then I wrote SLU, which is my way of saying solution. I'm about to write up the solution. And you'll notice I did it in pencil. The reason I use pencil when I write the answers is if I get it wrong and the answer doesn't match the answer in the back of the book, I can erase it and go get some help. There's lots of places to go for help around here on campus, online, so you can always get help to get it right. So I would highly recommend that you actually work out the problems in pencil. I expect you to show all of your work. Here's the next problem. Write down the question, word for word. You can abbreviate it if you need to, but I need to see what you're answering. You can't just write up the answer. I need to see the question and your answer. And I showed all the work. See how I like to put clouds around my formulas. Whenever I use a formula, I put a cloud. It helps me remember it later. And then I always box my answer. Continue like this, only writing on the front pages. We're on the back page section of the notebook, but we're only using the face pages. We're never writing on the backs. Okay, go on until you get through all of the exercises. And then at the very end, you're going to total up. After the last problem in section 2.1, you're going to do your 2.1 homework score. Where do I get the correct answers? The correct answers are in the back of the textbook. Check to see if your answers are correct. For every problem that you get correct, you need to write a check mark next to the problem to indicate that you checked it and your answer is good. If you didn't get it correct, you erase it, you get help, go back, write it up, and put the check mark and count it. If you get help, you get to count that problem as correct. If you just don't have the time to get help or you don't bother to do it, you don't get any credit. You don't put a check mark for those problems. Now here I was able to get most of them. I missed one. So my score is 10 out of 11 for section 2.1, and you highlight it. Very important that you highlight it. Then you go on to the next section. So we go back up to our portfolio to section 2.2. Start by reading section 2.2 in your textbook. And then here's the note. You read the notes very carefully. If you want to, you can write them up in the front pages of your notebook, but you don't have to. Read all the notes. Now we get to our first video in section 2.2. It's video 10A. Go back to your notebook. Let's go to the front page because now we're writing up the videos for the next section. Go to section 2.2. Write 2.2 at the top. Highlight it. Write everything that's in the video, the first video, and be sure to put the name of the video in the box. Then write out the entire video, the next video, and be sure to go down here and get those numbers from the portfolio page, reading all of the notes and writing all of the videos out, just as if you were sitting in class taking notes. When you get to the end of section 2.2, again, you're going to total everything up for that section. 2.2 videos. There were 9 videos, and I did all 9 of them. The top number is how many I did. The bottom number is how many videos there were. And that's the end of section 2.2. Then you go on to 2.3. Now you continue this way all the way to the end, at which time you're going to do a total of all the videos in batch 2. These are the videos that are from the sections that will be in exam 2. I wrote down each section number and the total number of videos I did correctly in each of the sections for a total of 42 that I wrote up over 51. Then you put your name and you put the date. What date do you put? You put the date of exam 2 because that's when you turn in your notebook, when we take exam 2. Now for the back pages, you do the same thing for the homework exercises. You've been totaling them up all along, putting a subtotal at the end of each section. So you're going to list all the ones that you did correct from each section at the very end of the last problem and get the total 110 problems out of a total of 113, the date of exam 2 and your name. And you're turning in that notebook on the day of the exam. And that's it. I wish you all the best. Hasta luego.